And hello there, it's Dr. D with one of my talks again. And tonight I'm going to talk to you about what do we do? What do we do when the bottom falls out of our life? What do we do when we don't see any hope? What do we do? But before we get into the talk tonight, let's take a deep breath. Why do we do this? We take a deep breath because we become centered in the moment. Let us become centered in the moment of where we're at. Let us allow creation, let us allow the Holy Spirit to bring us into one accord with one another, into unity with one another. Breathe in. Let's inhale peace. Let's inhale beauty. Oh, let us inhale hope. Hope for today and strength for tomorrow. Let us exhale in this moment, even just for a moment, any anxiety that you're feeling. Can you do this with me for just a moment? Just take the word hope. Just feel hope. 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 Hope in every area of your being. In every cell of your being. Oh, let's feel that we are wrapped in a cocoon of hope. Not based on what we see or what we're feeling, but based on, in this moment, just understanding the very life breath that we have. Hope. 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 Do you know the late Dr. Robert Schuller of the famed Crystal Cathedral? He had said many times, tough times don't last. Tough people do. How many times does it feel like the bottom has dropped out in your life? It could be the doctor saying, well, this really doesn't look good. Or it could be a financial reversal. Or betrayed even by somebody close to you. The wildfires that we had here in California not too long ago that devastated maybe your community and you haven't been able to rebuild yet because all the red tape. Oh yes, let's not forget the mass shootings that are occurring every day in our country, the schools, the churches. Globally, we look at the terrorists committing atrocities. You might be one of those watching globally by the YouTube channel, and the terrorists are taking your son, your daughter, taking your husband. Yes, there are governments that are still even bombing children. Just take a look from the Ukraine, children that are still getting bombed. Whatever your source, whatever's going on, you that will be getting your SNAP cards in just a few days. You that depend on those SNAP cards for your very existence. Whatever the source, it's normal to feel shocked. To feel frozen in time, what do I do? To feel frightened. How am I going to eat? How am I going to feed my family? To be outraged even. To be sad. And so many emotions. But don't let us start competing for those who deserve to feel upset or grieved. For you, right now, it feels like the bottom has fallen out. And it has. What do you do? That's a good question. I remember when I had come back to the States to find out that my business manager, who was like my sister, who was the closest person to me, had drained my bank accounts while I was gone. Gone for a few years on tour. Why is this happening to me? Being a person of faith was a difficult time. I ended up on the streets of LA, homeless and somewhat hopeless at times. So what did I learn through difficult times? You know, Dr. Schuller of the famed Crystal Cathedral, he said many times, tough times don't last. Tough people do. Wonderful cliche. Do you see yourself as tough? I didn't see myself as tough. Still don't see myself as tough. So for starters, what are we going to do? Be kind to yourself. Figure out a way to get on your side, not against others, but on your side for yourself. How you do that? As I say in so many of my talks, listen and silent have the same letters except rearranged. For me, it's becoming quiet, and then that quiet time, get a sense of my good intentions. Get a sense of what efforts can I put forward at this point. Get a sense that fundamentally, I am good. And that yes, at my very core, the very core of who I am, is a sweet nature. Have compassion for yourself. Don't let yourself feel so angry that you slow down. Protect your heart while being aware. You know, the Buddha taught us a long time ago that all kinds of painful thoughts and feelings can pass through unawareness, but we don't have to let them invade the mind and remain there. Pull away from your attention of toxic influences. For example, watch what you're thinking, watch what you're talking about. Yes, things are difficult, things are bad, but they get worse when they ruminate in your head. I know it's difficult, but try to keep your heart open. Try to be open to showing love to your friends and your family. And yes, love to this big, precious world. Now, some of you are looking and you're going, oh, it's easy for you to say, look at your house. Huh. Well, I purposely have made sure that the flat behind us today is understood that it is a drop for the show. Right behind me is my refrigerator. The show takes place from my kitchen. I don't know how many times when things are stretched completely that people will write me and they will say nasty things, and they'll say, it's easy for you to say great things because look at that beautiful house with the staircases that you live in. Now, you may think that this is here to give the illusion that it is a home with a beautiful staircase, but it is here that we can visualize hope, no matter where we're at, whether it's in a tent or living in the backseat of a car at this moment, that we can visualize in our consciousness of being able to be in a home like this and be able to raise our consciousness to that understanding that as a person of faith, that everything that is happening to us is happening for us. That's hard to take. That's hard to take. But I want you to understand something. Love heals us, and love feeds us, whether it's flowing in or out of us. There are often limitations to the love we can receive, but there are none as to what we can give. We're all wounded people. People have let you down. People have directly attacked you. I remember when I had a career that I was booked on speaking engagements for the next 3 years. And overnight, literally overnight, my speaking engagements, one by one, before the week was out, all got canceled because of some malicious rumor that somebody started that absolutely was not true. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone's burdened with some kind of regret or remorse. Everyone has losses. Doors closing, a loved one dying, our hopes for a better future dashed on the rocks. I'm going to reach back to 1986 when Harry Frank Turger did an academic paper. And that academic paper began with this: one of the silent features of our culture is there is so much bullshit. And it's only gotten worse in the years as the BS has been weaponized politically. Can I say that again? That was back in 1986. One of the silent features of our culture is that there is so much bullshit. And it's only gotten worse in the years as the BS has been weaponized politically. What do we do? Recognize the facts that are relevant to you at this moment. The ones that are close to hand. The ones that affect people that you know in a concrete way. You know, You're sitting listening to this because you're waiting in line for the food bank right now. Because the cards for SNAP are cut. Or perhaps you're one of the people just waiting for the shoe to drop so you're not going to have health care. While the Congress, I have to laugh as an irony, the Congress who still gets paid, still has health care, that they will have lunch discussing about who's wrong and who's right on what's happening with the people that will get no food cards, the food lines, the no health care. It's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about humanity. Humanity. Do you know, the great poet Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. I, and maybe some of you and many others, have underestimated the movement toward authoritarianism in America. And the guardrails that we thought were against having a king, having things weaponized against us and us losing our freedoms. You know, I don't exist because transgender is not a gender anymore. And a new bill is on the table that if your name was Stephen, that you were born with, and now your name is Stephanie, and you're retired, that there's a possibility that your Social Security will be cut because actually it was Stephen that the Social Security was going to, and not Stephanie as to who you are now. Folks, we can't continue to underestimate the movement in this country that is against all of us, not just gays, transgender, lesbian, but against all of us, farm workers, immigrants. The more uncertainty and potentially threatened that we see in this wider world that we're living in, the more important it is to invest in yourself and in the circle of those around you. Who feeds you? What protects you? What makes you happy? Little boring, but really true. We get back what we put into whatever it is. What we eat, to exercise, and to meditation and other forms of inner practices. We get back what we put into our relationships. I remember not long ago I was watching a YouTube channel and one of the special forces generals was being asked about survival, and they said, under the worst conditions, what's the most important thing to have? And he simply replied, friends. Friends. Now, I've been a spiritual leader for a number of years. 50-something years. And I talk a lot about lifting our consciousness to a place where love heals, and love wins, and all the cliches that we have. But we can't assume that lifting an individual consciousness, certainly as good as it is, and as much as I work at lifting my own consciousness every day, we can't assume that it's going to lead to the collective action that's necessary for a change, systematic suffering of thousands. How many thousands of years have we taught? And the teachings of Christ, the teaching of the Buddha, the teaching of all spiritual leaders about compassion and about justice. Can I be honest? They haven't led to the societies founded on those principles. There's too much complacency and too much self-congratulation as we help each other feel better while standing on the deck of the Titanic, racing towards an iceberg. Yet while we've been congratulating each other on our feel-good for thousands of years, wealth and power have become increasingly concentrated in the hands of a few, at the cost of many, you and me. And for the past several years, several hundred years, let's be real, we've been increasingly living in an unsustainable ways, literally burning up our planet, why? Because we're used to it. We take the developments that are happening for granted. What do? I wrote a note to myself before I started the talk, and I said it this way: we need to become indigenous again. We need to become indigenous again. What does that mean? It means we need to expand our vision and our sense of us to include all humanity and the web of life as a whole. We need to come back to a sense of us, all of us, red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in His sight. Gay, bisexual, lesbian, transgender. Everybody part of the whole, the us. And second, we need to reestablish. We need to reestablish compassion, and we need to reestablish justice as the foundation for all of our societies. How do we do this? It's got to take many forms. But one of the things that we have to do individually is we have to find an inner peace. Throughout history, people have lived under tough conditions while finding ways to be happy. If they can do it, we can too. It helps to know what things are beyond your control. Let's try to accept this fact. There are things that are beyond our control and uncertainty. And not always knowing what brings peace. Neurologically, it helps to raise your gaze, to look out the window, to take a bird's eye view, to take a walk, to begin to get a different perspective. Hope. 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 I don't want to paint a bleak picture. I want to be radically honest with you about where we're at in our world. Being really honest with you, you can read the pages of the playbook from 1930. Turn the page there. Same thing's happening in our country now. You feel powerless. You feel torn apart. How am I gonna eat? May have to go back to that barter system. You've got a chicken, I'm growing some tomatoes. I'll give you some tomatoes for one of the chickens. I don't know what the answer completely is. I'm not trying to give you a complete answer. I'm trying to share with you. Hang on to whatever hope you have, even if it is just a thread. I've said in many other talks, become afraid not. You know how a knot is hanging down and it's frayed at the ends and you just hang on by a string? A little play on words there, afraid not. Afraid not and afraid not. N-O-T. Don't let fear grip your heart. Become aware of what's going on, and you are aware of what's going on. Don't let the bitterness reside in your heart and in your mind. Determined to show compassion and love to yourself. Yes, you're worth it. Compassion, love to your family. Yes, you know they're worth it. And compassion, love to your friends. And don't get caught up in the BS. One more time, what I read earlier. One of the silent features of our country, silent features, is that there is so much bullshit, and it's only gotten worse in the years as the bullshit has been weaponized politically. That was written in 1986. Until then, I'm sending all the love that I can to you, all the peace I can to you. Know, as far as I'm concerned, we're in this together. We're going to grow through this as we go through this. We don't evolve, we unfold. That goodness is going to overtake the darkness. The light will shine again. Until next time, Dr. D.